name and spell it, please.
First name Madeline, last name Brain. It's Madeline. Last name Brain, B like boy, Ram like Mary E.
And your son, what was his name?
Sergeant Hassan Correa. HASONCORREA.
Okay, take me back right now. Take me back to 2018. What happened to your son?
Well, there was an altercation earlier in the evening, and between Hassan, his father, and another gentleman. The gentleman got beat up, and he went and got these four people. Hassan did not know them, nor had he done them any harm. These people came and instigated. They knocked on the door.
They came to your apartment?
Yes, they came to the apartment where Hassan and his father were, and they knocked on the door several times to instigate them to come outside. The door was opened. One of the gentlemen that came to instigate started throwing blows. Hassan's father returned blows. They closed the door, and they went downstairs.
So your son and his dad is now in the apartment with
Inside
the door
the
closed,
apartment with the door closed.
and the four individuals went downstairs.
Yes, went downstairs, yes. And the father, because they were continuously hollering at the window to come down, they wanted to fight, instigating. So Hassan's father went down first, and then Hassan went behind him. Words were exchanged, and that's when the fight broke out. James got knocked out, and as soon as he got knocked out, his father got hit in the head with a bottle. Hassan's father got hit in the head with a bottle and got knocked unconscious. So at that point, four of them jumped on Hassan, ganged on him. Four of them ganged him with a knife, and it was just him with his hands trying to defend himself against his four. He was stabbed 9 times. He died at the scene from a fatal stab wound to his heart. Hassan's father was also assaulted and ganged by these same 4 individuals when he regained consciousness to try to come to Hassan's aid. They stabbed him 12 times, but miraculously.
So your husband was stabbed. His dad was stabbed 12
times.
Oh, so your son and the dad both were stabbed. Your son didn't make it. The father was
Yes.
stabbed, but
Yes, that's what happened. The son didn't make it, but the father did. These people ran away and left my son's body and his father's body in the street for dead. Now, they were all 4 apprehended. All right. Now, we're 4 years later. So far, 2 of them, the murder charges have been dismissed against 2 of them, Mary Saunders and Travis Stewart. Mary was sentenced to 1 year time served for assault with a shoe. She's clearly on video participating in this murder, chasing Hassan, holding him, participating in the kicking. And Travis Stewart was sentenced to 7 years. Last week, James Saunders took the guilty plea, and he was promised by the judge 20 to life. So he will be sentenced on November 16th. Today we are here to start the trial for Christopher Saunders. I'm just hoping and praying that we get some type of justice for the murder of Sergeant Hassan. Anything less than life is not justice. You take a life, you do life. There should be no plea deals. There should be no offers for murder. Let a jury decide the guilt on that. Enough is enough. We're just sick and tired of being sick and tired. I'm not the only mother that's going through this. There are hundreds, maybe even thousands of us. There are even some murder cases that the murder charges dropped. So there is no murder, but you still have a dead body. The person is not charged with murder, but you still have a dead body. So that was in the case last week. The young boy who was shot, the young 15-year-old boy, and they didn't charge the shooter with the murder. They dropped the charge to possession of a weapon. But you still have this young man who's dead. So who's responsible for that? Dealing with this Manhattan District Attorney's Office, Alvin Bragg, has been a complete nightmare. It's been complete torture. They treat me like I am the criminal, like I did something wrong, like my son is the villain, and they're victimizing these people who killed him, and I've been dealing with this for 4 years, and I'm just hoping that we can go forward and we get this over with. And these people, this last one, hopefully, I don't know what's going to happen. I have no trust, no confidence, no faith.
Okay, the individuals that pled guilty, the individuals that walked away, are they going to testify against this one individual, or they do?
I have no idea. They're not. They're very tight-lipped, right? The prosecution is very tight-lipped, and they're not telling me, not giving me a lot of information. I have no idea. You know, I have no idea.
And tell me about the surveillance video.
The surveillance video is very clear surveillance. They're trying to convince me that I didn't see what I saw. I just saw the video for the first time last week, right, after 4 years, because I didn't want that to be the last memory I had of my son. But I knew that it was time. So when I saw that video, it depicts exactly what the original district attorney said that it depicted. All right, Hassan was provoked. Okay, they antagonized it. They instigated it. Actually, he was walking away, and they kept coming back. Right, and now these people here are trying to make it seem like Hassan was the instigator, and you know he started the fight.
Tell me a bit about Hassan. He was in the Army.
Yes.
He was a sergeant.
Hassan,
Afghanistan.
yes.
In National Guard or U.S. Army?
No, U.S. Army. US Army.
Tell me about him and his career in the Army.
Okay, Hassan served valiantly in Afghanistan. He received and returned enemy fire on the Taliban. He had 2 kills. So this was a hero. You know, Hassan protected Americans is what he did. All right, and he lived his life that way. Right, Hassan was a clean-cut guy. Never had any type of run-ins with the law in his whole entire life. At the time of his murder, he was a full-time personal physical trainer at Crunch Gym, and he was also a full-time student at Manhattan Institute, getting ready to graduate for medical assistant. All right, he's a husband. He's a father of 3 small children, Jason, Jordan, and Jaylani. And if I fight for anyone, I fight for them. I fight for justice for them and for closure for them. So Hassan was just a stand-up guy, all right? He was a peacemaker. He wasn't a troublemaker, all right? But if the trouble comes to him, he knew how to handle himself. He knew how to handle himself.
You know, as a mom, you open the newspaper, turn television all day, you see what's going on around the city. Random gun violence, people getting mugged, pushing from a train, people getting killed. What do you want to say to the district attorney, to the mayor, and to the governor about what's going on around the city today? Had this hit home for you back in 2018?
It hit home in a way that they could never imagine. You know, Alvin Bragg was hired to be a prosecutor. We hired him to be a prosecutor, and he needs to do his job. He needs to prosecute crime. Mayor Adams needs to step up to the plate, all right, and use his bully pulpit and make sure that he does what he promised the voters that he was going to do. And Governor Kathy Hochul needs to be removed completely. All right, she needs to be voted out. All right, Lee Zeldin is the man for the job. All right, he's courageous, he's strong, he's got integrity, he's got character, and he's sincere. All right, and he's a commander, and he will go in there and take charge of those people in there, take charge of those troops, and begin to turn this around.
You know, take me back to 2018 for a minute. There was arguments elsewhere. What was the original argument about? What happened?
It's just a video, so I don't know what the verbal altercation was, but I saw the actions.
No, not the day you saw, but there was something had aspired before that. Correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
there was a fight. There was a fight between Hassan's father. Hassan went to his father's house to meet him after work. Okay, Hassan's standing on the stoop. This guy is sitting there on the stoop. His father walks up. He gives Hassan a pound. He gives him a hug. You know, and because, you know, loving father and son relationship. Okay, this guy is sitting there. All right, I don't know what words went back and forth between Hassan, his father, and this young man. Okay, but some words went back and forth. This guy jumps up, he takes off his coat. Okay, this guy jumps up and takes off his coat. Okay, and words keep going back and forth, and then eventually the guy puts back on the coat. Hassan is saying something to the guy. The guy sits back down. Hassan reaches in and gives him a handshake. Okay, Hassan and his father go inside the building. Okay,
And
they're standing in the lobby. They're standing in the lobby, and the same guy from outside, okay, goes across the street, comes back, rips off his coat again, okay, takes off his shirt, comes pounding on the door, right? The building door, while Hassan and his father are standing in the vestibule, all right? Hassan's father opens up the door. This guy flings the door open, all right? As soon as he does, he punches Hassan's father in the face. Punches him in the face, right? So Hassan's father grabbed him, put him up against the wall, and Hassan was behind. Hassan beat him up. But the guy came through the door and hit the father, right? So it was provoked.
Did they know these individuals leading up
No,
to this?
not at
They've
all.
never seen these guys
Never
before?
seen them before.
Nothing else before
Never
this?
seen them before. Don't know
Neighborhood,
them.
you know?
Don't know him at all. Don't know
Nothing
him at
like
all.
that, yeah.
Even in testimony, when they asked, the ID, they never saw him before. They don't even know.
When this happened, were these individuals locked up right away, or did the
Well,
cops...
Mary Saunders turned herself in 10 days later. Travis Stewart turned herself in maybe a month later. They had to, what do you call it? The homicide squad had to go and get, apprehend Christopher. And 7 months later, they apprehended James in New Jersey. Yes.
Yeah.
So it took 7 months to get all
To
four.
get all four of them.
To get all four of them.
And
Yeah.
now they're... Some
Yeah.
pled out, some were...
Yes.
Yeah.
All four were charged with first-degree gang assault and second-degree murder. All right. There was never any plea deals on the table. There was never any motions on the table. In 3.5 years, the case was always trial ready, strong trial ready case. And it wasn't until the case was handed to Alvin Bragg's new administration is when it began to unravel, and they began to drop and dismiss those murder charges and downgrade those charges.
Was the weapon recovered?
Yes.
The cops got the weapon. Did they find...
Yes.
You don't know if they found fingerprints on anything like that? No bullets? You know what they found on it, right?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. No.
Anything else you want to add?
Just that if people have never voted before, right? If they haven't voted in years, to go out on November 8th and vote. If we want to restore some type of law and order to the city, to our state, we need to change the people that are in charge and put people there who are going to stand for law and order and protect New Yorkers.
How's your husband? How's your son's dad doing right now? If he was stabbed 12 times, you said, how's he doing?
I guess he's more emotionally. I believe that the physical wounds have healed, all right, by now. But you have to keep going for treatments and stuff. I don't know the severity of his injuries, but I know that he almost died.
Is he going to testify at the trial?
I don't think so. I don't think they need him because they have the video.
What about witnesses that were outside the house that day?
Well,
What was
there
on
were
the
30.
street?
There are 33 witnesses that are scheduled to testify.
You got 33 people
33
coming.
people coming to testify.
Testify.
That's including doctors and detectives and also eyewitnesses and 911 callers and character witnesses, all that.
Oh, I want to thank you very much. Thank you for your time. Do you guys have any questions? You guys are good?
Sure.